Hello, crafty friends. This is Jen, and thank you for joining me today. Today, I have my weekly blind challenge where I close my eyes and I pick a Karen Burniston pop-up die, and I also pick a Karen Burniston either animal or character die, and then I pick other dies that can go along with it. So, what I blindly chose this week was the woven basket box pop-up and the winter animals. So first I die cut the basket from craft cardstock, and then I die cut the woven pattern paper from this really great paper pack that I got from Echo Park called Let's Go Camping. And to start, I'm gluing one side of the basket together, and then I'm going to add my woven pieces in. So what you do is you weave the bottom pieces through, and then I just give a little line of glue and then attach that to the bottom of the basket. And I also am going to put a couple little daubs of glue to hold the top pieces in place. And then you weave the top piece the opposite direction. And I just usually add a little line of glue to the front, but I forgot to do that on the very first one. And then I'm just going to repeat the process for the next 3 panels of the basket. This is not a die set that I normally use, so it was kind of exciting that I picked this one this week because I really do love the woven basket. It's a neat little die set that makes a basket that folds down that you can put into an envelope and mail. And really, you could use it for any kind of occasion too. It could be for a birthday, it could be for fall, it could be winter, it could be anything. And she has so many wonderful dies that could go along with it as well. Such as the autumn elements, it's all leaves and pumpkins, so you could make a really pretty little autumn card, or box I should say. Or you could do some of the wonderful winter charms that she has, or Christmas charms. There's all kinds of different things that you can use. And it goes together fairly easily too, which is kind of nice. It's not overly complicated, but when you open it, the people who would receive it would be like, oh wow, how did you do this? Which is really nice. So we're just going to finish up putting the last panel on. And also with the top part of the woven basket, there's all kinds of little lines for folding. So if you wanted to use thicker paper, you could. It gives you lots of space to fold over into the basket. So now we're just going to glue this basket completely closed, and I can do that in the flat position. And that's the basket. Moving on, we're going to add the grass pieces, and these grass pieces come with the woven basket die set. And really you could place them anywhere, and they also can fit into some of the other panels as well. They'll snugly fit into there. I just kind of place them wherever I wanted to put them. And you just add a little dab of glue onto the sides. Now this one I put right up to the front, so I added glue to the front panel, but you wouldn't do that on the ones that go in the middle. And I only die cut 3 grass pieces, but you could die cut 4 or 2, or you don't even need to use the grass pieces. You could trim the grass off if you wanted straight pieces. So now I'm going to, I've die cut these trees. The Evergreen trees are from the Evergreen pivot panel, and the regular looking trees, like a maple tree, for example, they are from the new tree add-on die set that Karen Burniston just came out with. And it's a die set that goes along with the fancy label accordion, and it makes such pretty little trees. So I decided to use those along with the evergreens from the Evergreen pivot panel. And I'm just going over them with Distress Oxide ink. For the evergreen trees, I used Rustic Wilderness, and for the maple trees, I used Mowed Lawn. And it's just to give the little trees a little bit of dimension. I didn't want to use a whole lot of Copic markers. I'm trying to not use so much Copic marker, but you know, when you need it. So I've been trying to use a little more Distress ink for certain things. Now I'm just going to glue the tree branches and trunk onto the trees. And I'm doing that in the front position. You could do it in the back if you want to, but then you miss out on all that neat branching. And I'm just using my craft block to hold those in place while the glue sets. I do have a very bad habit of getting a lot of glue in my fingers. So now that we have all our trees done, I'm just going to take a brown Copic marker, an E37, and just color in the trunk of the evergreens. And now let's create our little characters. So I picked the winter animals as my blind challenge. And at first I thought, well, maybe I'll do like a winter themed woven basket, but I live in southern Ontario, Canada, and it is so hot and humid. I didn't feel like I should be making Christmas cards, so I thought I would go with a forest theme card because it's the season to camp and all that fun stuff. So I decided to make little forest creatures out of the winter animals. So here I'm just making a little bear and a little brown bear, and I'm using various Copic markers to color him in. And then the die set actually comes with the little snout. So I'm just marking the eyes, and I marked the mouth so I had a good idea where to put the snout piece. And then I'm just going over it with the die again to mark in the nose and the mouth. And isn't that adorable? The same die set also makes a hedgehog out of the little bear. So instead of just making the bear, you add the additional pieces on. For this one, I went with the warm gray series of markers. And I'm just going in with the W5, and then I'm going to go over with the W3. And it's basically the same as the little bear, only I wanted to make it like a warm gray color. Hedgehogs aren't really brown. I guess they're like this kind of color. Maybe they are brown. I just thought it would look good with this color. So I'm going in with the W1 to blend everything all together. And now I'm going to create the little hedgehog spiky bits. So I'm going in with E89 pecan or pecan. And I'm just making the like kind of shadow area. And then I went in with E25, the Carib Cocoa, but I didn't like how dark that came out. So I'm going to make another hedgehog, but I'm going to use different colors for that one. So you just glue the side panels on, and then you tuck in the two ends on the head, and then have the two little spikies coming over the top of the head, like the forehead. And then you can use your die to create the face onto your little hedgehog. And I just have a fine tip marker that I use for this. And then I added some pink in the ears with RV42. Now I'm going to make another bear and another hedgehog. And really, you could fill this woven basket with as many little critters as you wanted. I also had the idea of maybe doing like a little bear picnic and use the picnic elements to create like a little picnic scene in the woods. But maybe I'll save that for another time. And I made this bear just a little bit different colored, just a little lighter, different colored markers. Really, they both kind of came out the same, so. And then just go in with my fine tip pen and color in the eyes and nose. And now we're going to make a second hedgehog. So with the body, I did the same colors again, the warm gray series. And I'm just, again, going in with W5, W3, and W1. And that's just to give it some dimension. So it's not just one solid color. And then the W1 blends it all together. Now, this time around, I decided to go with the pecan color again to start for the shadow part of the little spiky bits. But I decided to not use the other color. I went with the dull ivory at first, but it was so light it wasn't blending well with the pecan. So I decided to go in with, I tried brick beige, it didn't work, and then I went in with khaki E84, and that worked really well. And then I blended that with the dull ivory E43, and then that kind of came out a lot better. I liked that combination. So just experiment. That's the fun part about crafting, really, with anything. And there's our other little ones. So now we're going to put everything together. And I just kind of started with one tree, figured where I wanted to put other stuff, added some more of the evergreens, just to start filling in the basket. And I'm just going to add my little bear. My little bear came off, and my tree, so I had to kind of press them both down. And I had to be careful. I didn't want to cover up my bear completely, but I didn't want it to be like wide open either. And I'm just adding some more trees and some more little bits all around. And just seeing. So I decided that instead of using these last two evergreens, I'd put them on the sides of the basket. I thought that was kind of a neat idea, because I didn't want to overpopulate the inside of the basket with too many trees. And then I just added my little bear kind of peeking out from behind the other trees, and then my little hedgehog peeping up from the front. And I'm just testing to make sure that it folds down okay. So I'm using the Lorna label die set, and I'm using that small circle to make a red label. And I'm going to use Karen Burniston's new clear stamps called Birthday and Belated. I love these clear stamps. They're great. They stamp well. They clean up well. Like, I'm so glad she came out with them. I just love these. So there's a smaller happy birthday that I'm using for this. And once I get it placed, I'm going to use my anti-static powder and my Versamark ink. And I like to stamp it like 3 times just to make sure that it got enough ink. And then I use my tweezers to hold it. I use white embossing powder. Now my little holder for my spoon broke off the top, so it has to sit in my embossing powder, which sometimes gets messy. And then I'm just going to heat emboss it with my heat gun. And once it's done, I like to go over it with a cloth and just kind of get rid of any of the extra powder. And now we're going to glue this on the front. And then I also die cut a second oval, but just from white cardstock, so that I have a place to sign the card when I choose to give it. And we'll just glue that on. And I use Lineco Neutral pH adhesive in a fine tip bottle that you can both get at KarenBurniston.com. And there's our finished product. So here's our little box card. Aren't those little animals cute? Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day and see you soon.